The 2024 election is just one day away, and while Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are in the final stretches of their national campaigns, so are local politicians.
Local politicians often get overshadowed by the presidential election, but they are equally important. Here at Grandview, we are represented by Congressman Jason Chau, who has been serving this district since he was sworn in 2019. Congressman Chau is now running for re-election to a fourth term against John Fabbricatore.
GVTV and the Grandview Chronicle reached out to both John Fabbricatore and Jason Chau's campaigns to varying degrees of success. While Jason Chau's office never got back to us after multiple attempts to contact them, our staff has decided to go ahead with the publication of this story because it is important to people like you. Our editor's board believes in the right to fair and free elections, and we are doing our part as members of the media in delivering this story to you.
Despite being on opposite sides of the aisle, both Fabbricatore and Chau agree that working across the aisle and working together outside of their respective parties is what gets work done.
I think it's important for people to realize that I've been in the government process. I understand the government process. I don't consider myself a politician, though. I don't want to be in that vein of that it's politics. I want to be able to talk to everybody. If you say that you're going to go into Congress and only work with your party, you're not going to get anything done.
In the past 3 terms, Congressman Chau has either introduced or co-sponsored a bill that has become a law 41 times, 38 of which have been with Republican colleagues.
Both Jason Chau and John Fabbricatore serve the United States in our military.
I think it's just important for people to serve the United States at some point in their life, whether that's volunteering for different things or running for an elected office, serving in the military, or serving their community however they see fit.
On Jason Chau's campaign website, he says, "The essence of servant leadership is always putting the needs of those you lead ahead of your own, and it continues to drive my approach today."
There are 3 important factors for both Chau and Fabbricatore when running this election.
Secure America, make sure we are reliant on the energy that we have in this country and improving our future for the next generations to come, making sure that America is stable and we have a good economy. They matter to me because I still have, young adults in my house, young kids, and I actually just became a grandfather. My oldest son is 29, and I just became a grandfather a few months ago. And it's important for me that the future is such for my kids that they can afford to buy a home, that inflation isn't so high, that they're stressed out about what kind of jobs that they need to make sure that they can have the basic necessities for life.
When asked about his 3 most important policies in an interview with the Denver Post, Congressman Chau said, "I am committed to supporting local communities throughout the 6th Congressional District. That includes bringing federal resources to CO6, including to support Buckley Air Force Base and give care to our veterans. I will fight for Coloradans' right and personal freedoms, including protecting the access to reproductive health care and codifying the right to choose. I will continue to lead on our national security, which means strengthening our democracy at home and supporting our allies abroad. And I will always help to fight working families in Colorado get ahead, no matter what they look like or where they are from."
For John Fabbricatore, he also knows how important it is to get the youth vote out, which is why he made it a major point of his campaign.
And I've tried to include a lot of young people in my campaign. My campaign manager is 26 years old. Most of the volunteers for my campaign are in their mid to upper 20s. I don't have very many people over 30 working for me because I wanted that kind of thought process in the back of my head all the time. As a 52-year-old male, what I think and what I've gone through is not the same as what that generation, the younger generation, is going to.
Colorado has faced some of the most tragic shootings in our nation's history. The Columbine Massacre in Littleton, Arapahoe High School, and the STEM school Highlands Ranch have accumulated 15 deaths and injured another 30. Both candidates are committed to preventing school gun violence.
Well, I think hardening our structures is number one. We need to make sure that our schools are safe and can be a safe environment for our kids, and we shouldn't be allowing people who have ill will and are wanting to hurt people into that environment. I also think that we need to really look at mental health and a lot of the stressors that people are going through today that are causing them to do something so outrageous as going into a school and wanting to shoot people. We need to stop it on the front end and also make sure that our schools are a place where our kids can be safe.
Jason Chau co-chairs the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force and helped pass the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first comprehensive gun safety reform package in 30 years. Chau credited this success to our community, saying, "Today's success belongs to every Coloradan who turned their hurt into action. The long overdue progress is theirs.
Chau also said, "I'll keep working to protect our community from gun violence, stop deadly weapons from falling into dangerous hands, and save lives." In response to an executive order President Biden signed increasing background checks for firearm purchases.
Congressman Chau continues to support gun restrictions, even as a former Army Ranger. As a hunter and a gun owner, I understand that our rights as citizens come with responsibilities. As a former Army Ranger, I've used weapons in war in defense of our country and know that they have no place in our communities, Chau's campaign website said.
Education is a key pillar in tomorrow's success. Both candidates want to build a better future through education.
I don't think that there's a good enough focus on what those next steps into your 20s are going to be for many students, and that we're not giving them the best that we can to make sure that they're prepared for the stressors in life that come after they leave high school.
On Jason Crow's campaign website, he says, "I owe much of my success to strong public neighborhood schools. Every child deserves the same. Colorado's public school system has left so many children behind. In Congress, I'm fighting against cuts in funding and voucher proposals that will only make this problem worse for Colorado's families."
John Fabbricatore is wary of how the situation can be mishandled.
I'm not big on telling government telling people what they should do. That's a lot of control. But I do believe that we need to take a look at what we can add to programs and introduce that to schools. It's important that we're not just throwing money at an issue and the issue is not getting fixed. Because what's happening is we're getting an older population who no longer have kids in these school districts, and we're just constantly taxing them to provide more.
John Fabbricatore did receive an endorsement from former President Trump at a rally he held in Aurora earlier this year.
I align on the GOP platform, on what the Republican platform is, but I'm a free thinker. I'm a leader. I am closer to the middle, I would say. I believe in a lot of what Donald Trump says, especially economy-wise, securing our border. But there are definitely things that I disagree. That I look at differently.
According to GovTrack's ideology score, Chau was the 13th most right-leaning Democrat in the 117th Congress from 2021 to 2023. Despite this, Chau has spent time campaigning for Kamala Harris and local Democratic representatives in battleground states like North Carolina, Georgia, and Pennsylvania, and even spoke in support of Kamala Harris at the Democratic National Convention.
On X, formerly known as Twitter, Congressman Chau tweeted that Vice President Kamala Harris has my full support to lead our country and party forward. She will bring a new generation of leadership and unite the country as we strive towards our higher ideals. I call on Americans from every background and corner of our nation to join me in fighting to elect Kamala Harris as our next president.
In an interview with Kyle Clark at 9 News, Congressman Chau said that voters should look at the issues.
That's what I always tell people. Look at the issues that are important to you and vote on those issues.
You just get out and vote. Just get out and vote. It's very important. I made sure as soon as I was old enough to vote that I took part in the process. So I think it's more important that we have people that can strategize and understand the issues and vote that way. Vote for America, not for a party.
In an address in 2020, Chau also said our democracy is not inevitable.
It doesn't sustain itself. We have to protect it. And the single most effective way to protect our democracy is by participating in it.
And your vote means everything. You have to be involved in the process. Just because you think, well, I'm 18 years old, no one's going to listen to me, I'll listen to you.
So make your voice heard. Make sure to vote this election by mailing in your vote or voting in person tomorrow, November 5th.
GVTV and the Grandview Chronicle would like to give our many thanks to the kind people at both John Fabbricatore's and Jason Crow's campaigns who help support students' media programs like ours. Sources can be found in the description of this video.
This has been Chau,
Ryah, Florea,
reporting for GVTV.